I want to talk about coming to Kenya / Africa. Look, I'm going to use them interchangeably. Obviously, I know there's over 54 countries on the continent, and they're all different with their own different cultures, et cetera, et cetera. I use the broader term just to open up the conversation at some points, because this happens a lot in Ghana, I think, and some other countries, especially for Black Americans, because okay, I'll talk about me, right? So me coming to Kenya, and obviously in the forefront is for me, for a better life, better weather, better people, better social life, better, not better culture, but I want to get closer to a culture that cares about people more than money, I would say. And some warmth, like people take their time with other people. I want to learn some of that and have some of that culture rub off on me. And so those are just some of the reasons for me coming, but and then when I'm getting involved with the business aspect, real estate, or I'm kind of interested in the farming. And actually there's somebody who bought a soccer team, a jersey company from the US that bought a soccer team and is like investing in the team and like giving board and food and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm trying to say is many of us come with some idealism or some kind of secondary mission other than just ourselves. We want to contribute, we want to give back, whatever that looks like as a mentality. And then, it kind of triggered me when I was watching Austin's video from 2 weeks ago when they were like, ban these passport bros and these YouTubers that are in Kenya, because he said something like, dang, we're doing that Emoja village thing. And he's truly trying to build a community and build bridges. For whatever criticism you may have of him, you could see that there is this secondary aspect of many Black Americans when they come or intend to spend a lot of time to give back or to build with or alongside Kenyans in the community that they happen to go to, whether that's Ghana or Nigeria or where, some people are trying to go to Burkina Faso, wherever you happen to go. And I think that's in a lot of the back of our mind. And I think that's good, and we should retain that. But there is a lot of idealism that comes along with moving to Africa for Black Americans. We think it's like the promised land, you're coming home. There's people that expect to be welcomed home or feel this welcoming sense. And there can be, but you have to be realistic about it, because human beings are human beings, right? Like, people have to go to work. They got to pay their bills. They got to take care of their family. They got to do whatever they got to do. So you just landing at the airport and coming out, no one's going to there's not going to be some kind of celebration, people clapping in the airport. And I'm being a bit like over the top with painting that picture, but some aspect of that is in the back of people's minds, I think. And I think you really got to divorce yourself of those type of ideas, or you're going to be disappointed. Because, and it happens to me, I get deflated as well. Like, if you look at my content, I put the Kenyan salespeople in the forefront of the videos. I'm barely in my videos. I'm trying to highlight the people there. I'm trying to highlight what they got going on. And yes, a lot of the developers are Chinese. I'm sorry, it's not my fault. But the salespeople are Kenyans, and they get commissions, they get paid. And I try to put them on. And that's part of that aspect. I think where the issue comes in is when you try to force stuff like this idea of, Pan-Africanism and like this idea that you're going to rapidly develop or change things is really if that's your expectation, I think you're going to be disappointed, just because change takes a long time and things are really hard. And again, most people are just trying to live their lives. So you're coming with this big lofty mission, and meanwhile somebody else is trying to pay their light bill or whatever, so to expect them to see your vision, first of all, is a bit unrealistic. So I I think the reason why I want to talk about it is just because I've felt those feelings, like, oh, people are trying to overcharge you. Don't you know I'm trying to help? Don't you know I'm trying to like give back? But dang, why are they trying to get me? Those are thoughts that people have, and I don't think you'd be as disappointed if you came in with a more neutral mindset. And it doesn't mean that you should totally throw away these ideas of contributing and even assimilating into a culture. Although I think you're always going to be an American, as much as many Black Americans don't like America or think that they don't like America. You're an American and you have American culture. And as a subset of that culture, you have a Black American culture. And you're not going to change that over a year or two, and probably even a lifetime. Really, if you had kids there, that's probably where there would be a change. But if you're 30, 40 something years old coming to Kenya, I don't think you're going to be able to totally assimilate into the culture. I do think it's important to learn the language. I actually do know a good amount of words, probably than most people that come as much as I come, but I'm not fluent. But if someone's talking, I can pick out some words and sometimes know the subject, but I am learning. Oh, hi, Mom. It's my mom, guys. Hey, how are you? So I just, setting expectations is really important, because if you come in and you think, if you have high expectations and they're not reached, you're going to be disappointed. I see a lot of people who have came to the continent. There's tons of content about it, where they come, something unfortunate happens, or they're just a little underwhelmed. They're not getting that welcome that they think that they're going to get. They start facing the realities on the ground, and then they end up going back. And they probably didn't prepare financially, which we've talked about before. And so there's just a whole bunch of things that can happen where you're going to be disappointed. But if you come in with the right mindset, and also just not trying to do too much, I think, like referencing back to the Austin thing, I don't actually think they're trying to do too much generally, but it can be disappointing when people get in your way, or not everyone loves what you're doing, or they misunderstand what you're doing, which definitely can happen. Ella, what's up? Hi, Ryan. I didn't know we were expected to stand at the airport and clap. I don't think people expect it, but we just, Black Americans have a romanticized view in general about Africa and coming back, because these things are very sacred to us that we hold on to, that may not be so sacred to the people that live there, because they live there their whole lives and aren't really as impacted or observant to the, as a Black American, you know that you're a Black person, and you're reminded of that when you go through life. And I'm not over here over dramatizing. Like, I'm not a big cry racism person, but these things exist, obviously.